Everybody, welcome my brother Jerel Worthy, Spartan Dog, second round draft pick to the Green Bay Packers, husband and father, Jerel Worthy. Man, thank you for joining the Quiet Time podcast. I really appreciate you joining, my dude.
Man, it's an honor to be on the show, bro. You've had some heavy hitters on, man. So I'm definitely honored to be on the show, bro. So thank you for having me.
Always gonna stay with the heavy hitters, and always gotta to bring friends and bring family onto the show just to talk to the listeners about the importance of relationships and having those strong people around you. We got off to a great relationship at Michigan State, just partly because of mutual friends and then the work ethic. But we've able to grow and maintain our relationship. Talk to the listeners today about the importance of relationships, not only in business but just in life in general.
Well, relationships are so important because they can take you a long way. We've been blessed to be friends for so long, coming up on a decade or more now. And at this point in time, it's like, it's more like family than it is friendship. And so, having a person that continues to fuel you, their dreams and their aspirations continue to fuel your dreams and aspirations, that's what you really want as a person. Like you want to have the necessary nucleus around you that keeps you motivated. And realistically, man, the friends that I've had around me has always continuously kept me on my toes and motivated me to get better. So it's been great to have them.
Yeah, I think that's super important just about what you said in terms of having that nucleus. And when I say friendships and I talk about close friendships, it doesn't have to be 20 to 30 people. I mean, you just need a solid group of people that will motivate you and push you to be better. That's one of the key things that I just took about from what you just said is that the relationships that you have around you and how important they are, they have to push you to be better.
And yeah, I mean, and realistically, like, what I've always appreciated was that our conversations was different than the norm. Like, yeah, we were athletes. Yeah, we were doing, what we were supposed to do on the football field and weight room and stuff like that. But it was like, our aspirations went, way beyond football. And so like it leads us into our other passions, have an opportunity to connect with people, encourage people, and inspire people to be their better selves. Like, we seen that all the way back in Michigan State, and now it's coming to fruition. And then, my opportunities and the way how passionate I am about football. And it's led to me being able to, start a 7-on-7 team and having opportunities to be coaching in the community and just doing certain things through this nonprofit. It's been great.
Let's talk about that big word. Let's talk about that 7-on-7 team
Yeah.
that is coming into fruition. Let's talk about that. Let's also talk about like where do you see this going, your coaching in the future going, because you've always had that unique perspective about the game. And especially from a lineman's point of view, you could see the skill. You always had that just finesse about your game. So it's always good to see. And like you said, things coming into fruition just about where we all knew where we were all going.
Mhm.
Now, it wasn't necessarily crystallized and it wasn't always in super focus, but everybody has, their passions and their talents. But yeah, let's go ahead. Talk about the 7-on-7 team and your coaching career and where you're going.
Well, this was my first year coaching. Being on the other side, man, is definitely it's a different feel. I'm coaching down here at this Christian Academy in Loganville, Georgia, and so being right next door to the state championship team in Grayson High School and the amount of talent that they produce in the area, like it's just like it's over. I guess there's so much talent. It's like these kids are begging to be coached and begging to be led in the right direction. And there's so many different things that pull them in a different direction that's not necessarily in a positive way. That's where you having this Metro 7, having opportunities to be able to do things on a side note with these kids is how we continue to get them to come back to the good side of things and stay focused on their dreams. Because realistically, a lot of these kids want instant gratification right away, and they don't know how to deal with life's changes and know how to deal. Like if there's a detour, you have to figure out another way, and they don't know how to change course in order to be successful. So Metro 7 has been a great way help pilot these kids with that. And I'm very excited to be the lead person down here in ATL.
Let's go, Metro 7. If you are hearing this and you're in Georgia, hey, hit my man Word up. Jerel
Yeah,
Worthy, he's got a lot of expertise. He's got a lot of knowledge around the game, and just he knows how to win. When you get drafted in the second round in the NFL, not many people could say that they can do that or that they've done that, especially to the Green Bay Packers, which is a great organization. They know their players, they know who they want, and they picked you. Before we move on to the next topic, though, Georgia or Ohio football. Ohio football is big. You said you got some great talent down there, but I know
right.
you're an Ohio guy.
So like, I think, what I've grown to understand is that, when it comes to Ohio football, because of the simple fact you don't necessarily have the luxuries of like spring ball or playing the type of sport year round. I would say that a lot of the kids up in Ohio are a little bit more strategically sound, like when it comes to the X's and O's. But when it comes down here to, just taking a guy and giving him the football and saying, hey, go to the end zone, like, hey, there's so many of those kids down here. And I understand why, as from a recruiting aspect, you want to be down here because in Gwinnett County alone, man, there's so many superstars. And that's just one county of Georgia, man. You got to go over to the west side, and then there's another heavy hitters as well. And some of these high schools, man, they got indoor facilities as big as what we had up in Michigan State, bro. So, I mean, they're definitely doing the right thing down here.
Man, I can only imagine, because Michigan football, it's not like Ohio or Georgia. Let's just say that. I'm not going to talk down on my state, but it's not like Ohio or Georgia. But I know you.
Y'all got some ballers.
We do, of course. I mean, you play with some good players from Michigan, but it just in terms of Ohio and Georgia being very unique in terms of the talent that they're producing at a high level all the time. So I think that's very unique. Let's talk a little bit about transition and where you are in terms of your playing career and transitioning. You said it's a little bit different than the other side, but let's talk a little bit about that and what you've experienced on the other side, not being playing right now.
So I think from my aspect, being a defensive lineman, it's always been the most beautiful thing because, any frustrations in life, I take it to my job. Any situations where, I don't necessarily I feel like I'm lacking, I take it to my job, or, I'm having something that I have to get off my chest, or, a situation that I have to handle that it can't require for me to be physically involved. I take it to my job. So It's like, at the end of the day, football has always been not only an adrenaline rush for me, but a safe haven when it comes to like my emotional support, because, I actually gravitated towards football because, I dealt with situations growing up, and like I was, constantly having to defend myself for certain stuff. And so like, it was situations where it was like, man, I can go and have fun at this and not get in trouble for it. So like, when it comes to transition, it's finding a different way to tune in to your emotions, because and you have to have more quiet time to yourself to have more understanding of yourself. And that was probably the biggest struggle. It wasn't necessarily figuring out what it was to do, because I know that I can do a plethora of things. Like I feel like I'm well-rounded as a person. It was really more so tapping into, when things don't go my way, like how do I release this emotion? Like where do I tap into when it comes to like structure? Because, realistically, if you've been a good athlete, you've had structure in your life for so many years. And then now it's like you're out here on your own, and you got to put the blocks in order to have that schedule. So, at MSU, we had that schedule, man. Every single hour was accounted for. Yeah. But, in life, man, it's not like that. So you got to make sure that you stay on your toes.
Absolutely. And I see that just as I've been hurt and as I've been rehabbing and doing this other business, I do see the importance of having that structure. And now I have my day structured in a way that can help me be super time efficient, as well as I've helped my clients do that. You have to figure out what's most important to you, because in life there's so many reactions of, oh, I got to do this now, I got to do this now, and it's not necessarily like that. What are the musts? There's only usually 3 to 4 musts that you must do every single week, but we make it feel like we put down these things on this to-do list, like, oh, I have to do this, and it's like 60 things in one week, and a lot of the things usually lead towards one outcome. But if we can learn how to prioritize, and that's what I help people do, prioritize and structure their days, so they don't feel like they're always reacting to something. So, tell me what your thoughts on that are.
Well, I think that personally, it's helped me a lot since I've been able to find structure in my life. I think, it's helped me as far as like emotions wise, because when everything is chaos, man, like you tend to make, rash decisions. It tends to lead necessarily just to chaos. And I think when you have that structure in your life, man, you can kind of go throughout your day with a calmness, as well as it gives you the ability to handle when things change. Like, I've realized that, when I've had my days accounted for, I can handle things that like change course for me. So like if I get a flat tire, I'm like, oh, okay, man, I'm a little bit calmer when I'm changing it, as opposed to if I know if I'm late for a meeting or not. So, for me, structure has essentially helped my life, my marriage, how I've dealt with my children, because they want time from me, but as well as me trying to establish another career, that's time consuming as well. And so, structure plays a vital role in all those things.
Absolutely. And that is one of the things that I feel like athletes, when they come into business or do business, that separates. We know how to strategize, we know how to structure things to be most efficient, just because we don't have that much time in the day to actually get things done in order to win on a Sunday. Like, every Wednesday looks the same in the NFL. Obviously, you can account and
Right.
attest to this. Every Wednesday looks the same. Now, the practice schedule might change in terms of that, but the hours are the same. And that's why we're so efficient day in, day out, meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting. People just, we know how to move. We know the outcome of each meeting. We know the outcome of the practice we want, first and second down on Wednesday, Thursday, third down, a little bit of red zone, Friday, all red zone, Saturday, we walk through it all, the important details of it. Sunday, we go out and then we redo it. Then we look and see what went well, and then we go back.
Right.
In business, it's the same thing.
No, and it's like, the if you have that formula as far as the business side of things, I've realized that you can definitely lead yourself to success. I think what it comes to in life is like when you don't have that, it obviously causes a lot of chaos and things of that nature. But you got to have that quiet time for yourself, and you got to take time to yourself to figure out what it is that you want and how you want to be successful, and realistically put those things in order. One of the things I've learned from watching Eric Thomas a lot is getting things in order as far as their segments. So like your family, your spiritual, what are you doing in your community, and your career wise. And so I think you have to figure out what's going wrong in those areas and what's going right in those areas, and realistically, what are you confused about in those areas. And once I've wrote those things out, for me, man, it allowed me to attack the business world a lot better. It allowed me to attack how I deal with stress in my family, and as well as how can I propel myself in another career like how I did with football. Because when it comes to sports, like as a kid, they tell you like if you lift these weights, if you go to class, you're gonna go this way.
Right.
In business, it's not like that. You feel what I mean? Like they
Right.
can sit there and say, hey, if you do this, but sometimes it might go left on you. Somebody might pull out of a deal, or somebody might not necessarily agree on all ends, and then everything goes abrupt. Prime example, being an employee in the AFL, man, we were rocking and rolling 8-1. Coach Spurrier is my coach. He was a hell of a coach. He was funny as hell, by the way. But having like, we were going, and I'm thinking like, all right, this is what it is. I'm about to go win a championship with this team. I'm gonna go ahead, cash out, make my way back into, the NFL. And all of a sudden a guy pulls out on a deal with the AFL, and then the whole league goes abrupt. And so like, when it comes to like stuff like that, like, you can't be prepared for those. It's different in the it's different in the business world as opposed to, when it comes to dealing with sports.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that every time when you were just explaining that, I was just thinking of sudden change, and how we have those sudden change in
Mhm.
football terms. Like, all right, like what do we do now? Sudden change. We just turn the ball over. Or they just turn the ball over. We have to have a set of plays that we need to get to. Or sudden change for defense. You want to back that offense up so they get out of scoring position.
Right.
Just really depending. And the best way I feel like I've had to try to adjust the business in terms of business is actually preparing, like having a vision for those areas of life that you were just talking about. And then what are the things that could possibly go wrong so that you don't get upset or you don't get discouraged when they don't go that way.
Yeah, I mean, I've come to find out that things are gonna go wrong, man. You're gonna have more misses than you do hits when it comes to the business side of things. Obviously with football, they say if you step a certain way, if you shoot your hands a certain way, you're gonna deliver your power at a certain way. It's gonna be this every single time. And sometimes in the business world, you might step out on that formula, and have that good foot, and things, like I said, might not go the certain way. But realistically, when it comes to certain change, you also have to have a set of fundamentals, that you have in place that prevents you from making rash decisions. And so, one thing we talk about is when there's a sudden change on defense is, don't get beat over your head, because offenses always want to take a shot deep. And so when it comes to the business side is, when things come up and there's a sudden change, you don't want to always go put your money in on a certain thing, or go take your money out and run for the hills. Like, you want to obviously let things play out, and obviously assess the situation. And that's how you can make a great decision on things.
Absolutely. Can't make a decision off of emotion. You said a couple of important things just a little bit back, just a few minutes ago. You talked about the importance of your family and your beautiful wife and your beautiful kids. What's the gift that you're giving back to your kids that I wouldn't say didn't have growing up, but what's the one thing that you want them to have, just as they get older and, giving back to your family?
um I think, number one is obviously a sense of faith, but number two is for me is that, I just want to be there with them every step of the way. Like, coming from a single parent household, my father was very much involved in my life, but at the same time, like when you're growing up and both parents are not in a home, both parents are working constantly. So it's very tough for you to get that personal time. It's very tough for, I guess, a child that's coming up, trying to find out a lot about himself, to come to you with their own issues and struggles, when realistically you don't have your own affairs in order. My mom and dad work constantly. And so, my dad owned a barbershop for years. My dad would work from 7 a.m. all the way up to 11, 12 at night, standing on his feet. And my mom would work, a couple jobs as well. And so for me, I couldn't always come to them with my issues. And so, like, I think, giving my kids that platform is one of the most rewarding things that I think I've given them, because you find out a lot about kids and what they go through if you just give them a few minutes to allow them to open up to you. And I've done that as well as in my coaching life, and with Metro 7, because coaching at a Christian academy, you would think that all these kids have everything going well for them, and they struggle tremendously, with a lack of attention, a lack of affection, because when you come from a lot of money, you got to work to keep it. And at the end of the
Yeah,
day, parents are always out, they're hustling, bustling. And so, like I said before, that personal time, even at that age, is priceless and very detrimental to their growth. So I want to make sure that I'm there for my kids when it comes to that personal connection, because it's very vital for their growth.
man, that's incredible. That's a great message. And I hope everybody who's listening out there is taking that. And if you do have family, spend that quality time with your family, even if it's only, a good 30 minutes to an hour. Spend that quality time. That time is super important. And I think we learned that in 2020, but it's a great message to share. Let's go back to football a little bit, and I want to talk about what was it like playing with Aaron Rodgers, because obviously we're seeing the season that he just had. I mean, the dude just makes it look so easy, and I've been blessed to play with four of the best quarterbacks ever. Never played with him, but he makes the game look so easy. Talk a little bit about that.
One thing I could say is like, he is arguably, I think, skill for skill, the best quarterback of all time when it comes to just pure passing ability. If you don't have no plays on the script, you come out there with 11 out of 11, and you just give me the football, I'm telling you, probably 10 out of 10 times, Aaron's going to kill you. Like, he is the ultimate guy you can't necessarily game plan for unless your pass rush is working. When it comes to, Peyton, when it comes to Tom, it's always a constant chess match. And sometimes, Tom and Peyton might lose those chess matches. And they're not necessarily, obviously, they're not prone to losing a lot, but sometimes they can get out schemed. But when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, like, you can necessarily out scheme him. He's throwing receivers open. He's fitting that grain of rice into a keyhole. And to be honest with you, his approach to the game was so cool. Being in the locker room, watching him walk up to the receivers and like, hey guys, what do you guys like? I've never seen that out of any other quarterback in the National Football League. I got traded to New England. I was in Kansas City around Alex Smith before they got Mahomes. Let's see, I played up in Buffalo. I had an opportunity to be in Tampa Bay as well. I've never seen that out of any quarterback, walking up into the receivers like, hey, like on game day, hey, so what y'all like today? Let me know what y'all want. And that's why the relationship between him and the receivers up there, doesn't matter who comes into the lineup, is so great, because he makes them feel empowered. He makes them feel like they're the number one. Like, obviously, Devontae Adams is the number one. Yeah. But you can see the way he spreads the ball out, he gives everybody confidence. And that's why he can take guys that are not household names and turn them into wine, because he's definitely that guy.
That's a great leadership point right there, in terms of, if I just use the football into business, is that asking, the receivers aren't his employees, but asking your employees what they want.
Correct.
If you want somebody to run through a wall for you or to get more done for you, have you asked them what they want, or what in working environment, or what could they add, or what could they offer to the business? Because if you want to get more out of people, like you said, those receivers feel a part of the offense. So therefore, they'll go out of their way and they fit right in. Same thing in business. You have to, if you want your employees to put in more hours, more work, or more productive work, can't just treat them like employees. You got to ask them what they want as well. That's very powerful to hear from Aaron Rodgers. A couple of friends that I have who have played in Green Bay talk about him and his walkthrough, or him throwing no-look passes in practice. I was actually talking to Jared Cook one time, and Jared Cook had talked about Aaron Rodgers sometimes, in practice, just drop back 70 yards downfield and throw a ball into a bucket.
Yeah, and he does it with the easiest, like, you don't understand. So it's like, when you go up there for training camp, obviously we probably have one of the craziest training camp attendances in the National Football League. Obviously there's great fan bases like Pittsburgh. You've got the Buffalo Bills. You've got guys, the Raiders and things like that. But when you come to Green Bay, Wisconsin, there's literally nobody at their stores because they're all at training camp. There's nobody at the daycares because they're all the kids and the teacher. They're all at training camp. Like, the entire town shuts down to be a part of the Green Bay Packers. When they hold those shareholders meetings, there are hundreds of thousands of people out there from all walks of life wanting to just be a part of it. Now, obviously the shareholders, there's certain shareholders that hold, a lot of weight,
Right.
And there's guys that don't, but the fact of the participation that they receive from the people around that town is insane. And when you get Aaron Rodgers dropping back in practice and making 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 from 70, 80 yards down, bro, it's like an attraction. So they're going crazy, 30,000 fans. Like, it's anything offensively happen during camp, it's all day. When Aaron throws a pick or anything, They're booing the defense. They're upset. But I'm talking about when Aaron's on his fire, bro. Like he's got 30,000 fans for him out there at practice. It's insane. It's
That's how
insane.
it was when I was playing with Peyton. Like,
It's insane.
you know, everybody comes out to practice, and then when he comes out, it's just like it erupts, and it was just everybody was just taking pictures of him. You know, he just throwing warm-up passes, like my man just warming up. But it's just something about those guys in terms of their presence, in terms of their leadership, that commands that. They get that from the fans because of the way they carry themselves, and that's what great leaders do. You know,
Absolutely.
I'm not, you know, we're not necessarily the Peyton and Aaron Rodgers, but it's the way you carry yourself, and that attracts people to you. You know, one of the people when I was playing with Odell, it was like that in terms of like it felt like he had such superpowers, so it just elevated the if he made the catch, the offense was we were gonna score. You just knew we were about to score. It was kind of crazy.
And that's how it is, bro. It's like that, man. And so, like, you know, when you have guys that can affect your organization, your team, your business like that, they're very valuable. And so, you know, it was like that for us, like that with Clay Matthews before he started going through the immense amount of injuries. When I was out there my rookie year, bro, and we were running pass rush games and stuff like that together, it was like we would run the game together and he would come home free and like get this sack, bro. And I'm talking about regardless as a teammate or anything, bro, we were so ecstatic as a team. He changed the landscape of how like we would hunt on defense. And so, you know, when you got those types of guys, man, in your organization, bro, they come at a premium, man. They are a premium to your organization.
That's why they get paid. Vaughn, I mean, if I think about the Super Bowl with Vaughn, it was just like I was talking to the day before, and he was just super calm, and you just knew he was just about to go crazy. And man,
that's one of those guys.
Just one of those guys, like, you know, when he gets on the field, it's one of those dudes, like, if you see him out on the field, you like, all right, we're good.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was playing with Peyton, when I've been playing with any of the quarterbacks that I've played with that, you know, that I know are going to the Hall of Fame, it's just like, all right, he's dressed. We got a 95% chance, 99% chance.
You know, and that's how it was. Like A-Rod went down with the collarbone. We was like, all right, fellas. They be like, all right, they told us 6 to 8 weeks. Okay, we gonna look for 6 now. Even if we break even in these games, we all right now. We all right.
Right.
And when I tell you, bro, when he pushed it to the limit, dog, and he ended up coming back like week 17, we needed him to win that one game just to get in the playoffs, bro. Like when he came back and walked onto that field, you talking about the type of energy we went to in Chicago, and to have won that game, converting like 3 4th downs on that drive, bro. It was insane, man. Like
Randall Cobb, didn't Randall Cobb score to win that game?
Yeah, man. They missed a missed coverage down the hash, left hash, bro. And I'm talking about him and like, so Randall got hurt earlier in the year against the Ravens, had a cracked fibula or whatever, man. Basically was catching a seam route, and the safety came in at the same time that his foot hit the ground catching the ball. So it was a pretty gruesome injury. He was on IR for a while. A-Rod goes down the next week against Chicago. It was a crazy situation, bro. And for both of them to come back week 17 after being on the IR list, bro, it was insane in that locker room, bro, to be NFC North champs that day. That was a pretty cool experience.
Sudden change. Your organization, the Packers, was ready. They were ready to adapt. And in an organization, small businesses, entrepreneurs, you have to be ready. Everybody has to be ready to adapt. Have your plan, have your vision, have your focus and your future aligned and on paper, but be ready to adapt. Is there any final words you want to leave the listeners?
Don't buy into the hype, man. 2020 was always crazy. 2021, according to everything on the screen you see, is going to get crazier. But I just say don't buy into the hype, man. Stay focused on yourself. Stay focused on your goals. Stay focused on your family primarily. And realistically, man, 6 months or less, you can have your things going on the right foot. So continue to stay prayed up and moving forward, bro.
Everybody, Jerel Worthy, where can they find you? Can they find you on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter? Where can they find you? Where can the viewers find you?
I'm building my LinkedIn account, man. I realize that's the valuable thing nowadays, man. Transition. We're talking about transition. So yeah. I'm building that up. I've got my IG. It's I am Worthy. I am _Worthy 99. You can find me on Twitter, same handle. And so realistically, man, I'm just trying to make the best of the best. So
Appreciate you, big dog, man. Love you. Thank you for joining the Quiet Time podcast.
absolutely, man. Appreciate you guys, man.